Hello and welcome to Studio 113.
Oh.
What are we going to call the podcast? We'll figure it out at some
Live
point.
from Studio 113.
Live from Studio 113, It's a podcast. Alright, cool.
Alright.
So what are we talking about tonight, Brendan?
Oh yeah, RPGs.
What about them?
Rocket-propelled grenades?
Yeah.
RPGs and about what people actually want in them as opposed to what is in them.
Like what developers put in them?
Yeah, the last, solid RPG, and although I wasn't a huge fan, it was a pretty solid RPG, was Skyrim. That was, the last, new solid RPG.
And the only reason it was, one of the few reasons it was really, really solid, as much as it was because of the modding community. So you can't really even thank the devs all that much for it.
They laid the groundwork.
That's true. They
made
put
it
out
easy.
half
a game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They made it easy to. They made the game shittily, and they were like, "Here's the source code. Make some mods."
Yeah. But again, what they started with, they did give open environment. You could actually go exploring. You could actually do things. It actually was fairly good.
That's the one thing
platform.
Bethesda is going for it, is that it actually lets modders deal with their code a little bit.
Yeah.
Which,
like they put out the engine modifier, whatever all that thing's
I'll
called.
get back to EA and stuff. But apparently, Dead or Alive. Do you know what that is?
No, I have no idea.
So there's a game called Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, which is basically, if you want to watch half-naked women play volleyball, that's the game for you. Dead or Alive is a series, kind of like Tekken. It's just like a fighting game. But again, it goes with a lot of the women in there are very scantily clad and very, very well endowed.
As in gravity-defying?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And so the developers for Dead or Alive released the source.
Shut up, Nathan.
And basically told modders, please be ethical.
Yeah.
But anyway, back
They
to
weren't.
well, most likely I haven't seen any of the stuff they've made with it.
Well,
I haven't actually played it, but I am a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you on that one while I'm thinking about it. I always heard that the original Gauntlet had a code behind it to mod the arcade game, but never actually saw it. So.
And then to the RPGs, I know recently on Rooster Teeth's news segment called The Know, they were reporting on EA apparently came out and said one of their devs or some PR person, I can't remember who exactly said, but they said that their games were too difficult for gamers, or were too difficult, and that somebody shouldn't have to take 2 hours in order to learn the game before they can really start playing.
That's totally what I like in games.
Exactly.
Is when it feels new.
Yeah. And that was, and what they said was, no, that's really not, what they responded was kind of, yes, I understand where you're coming from, but for a lot of gamers, that's a crap thing.
It got a lot of new fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and that's what one of the things she said is gamers are just going to have to realize that in that area, we really are the minority, and the Candy Crushes of the world are really who they're trying to cater to, because that's where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
One thing the first thing that I liked about Skyrim, I thought it could have been cooler, was we were talking about this earlier, with fast travel in games.
We're not interrupting anything, are we?
I don't think fast travel matters to be in a game, but I like it a lot when it's directly incorporated in the game. I don't really like warp to this place, it sets the time forward.
Yeah.
Like that mod for Skyrim, where you could ride in the back of the carriage when you fast travel between places. That's a fantastic mod.
Because that's what I like in Skyrim.
It's immersion into the game, and to run across Skyrim takes 10 minutes?
Yeah,
seriously,
true.
You're that impatient that you can't just wait. The fucking loading screen on Xbox 360 is longer than that.
It's really true.
I really liked the carriages in that, and Morrowind had the Silt Striders that you could ride on. I like the taxi system as opposed to fast travel.
That, I do like that better, because that's like Grand Theft Auto, that was one of the things they've really gotten right for a good while is, there's no fast travel, but you can call a taxi, and I mean, in GTA 5, you can sit there and wait through the taxi technically it's cheaper, but it's like a $27 bill versus a $55 bill. In Grand Theft Auto, that's nothing. Like, you could punch a pedestrian in the head and make $15 pretty easily and make up for it.
No consequences either.
Yeah, that's the good part of that.
It's like, oh, you can kill 2 or 3 people before we're gonna call the cops.
Another thing, my least favorite thing about new RPGs is when it's not a full game, they take out content, and they release it later as DLC that you have to pay extra for.
Or the worst thing, when they just take out content and they leave the files with the release game, but they're completely deactivated so you can't touch them. Like, how many games do they have mods out for where they reactivate old content that never got put into the game? It's ridiculous. Just actually take the time to invest in making a full game rather than just pushing out an unreleased product.
Speaking of that,
it's not something we should do.
Dragon Age Inquisition getting biggest PC patch to date soon.
Nice.
See, that's ridiculous.
I hope that game's good.
That happens with so many games.
I've heard it's a lot like Origins.
So did I. The thing that sort of turns me off about it is, although the playstyle looks a lot more like Origins than Dragon Age 2, which I didn't like the playstyle of Dragon Age 2, and I didn't like the storytelling of Dragon Age 2. I like the art style a lot.
I was to say the fighting mechanic in 2 just seemed really like
washy. It's like I've got this huge greatsword, which greatswords did, like using a two-handed weapon was the weakest thing you could do in that game for some reason.
Because
and
that's what they do in all
swinging
games.
it really hard and hitting people really hard, and their health bar just kind of going down.
Well, you ought to sharpen it sometimes. Just saying.
I mean, I could think about that, but I'd rather blame the game.
Yeah, exactly. Next time, stand closer.
Yeah.
I love this. PewDiePie unhappy with Nintendo's YouTube ad sharing policy. Cry me a fucking river.
PewDiePie makes millions.
Yeah. I don't give a shit what you think. Oh, I'm
It's
not making enough
disgusting.
money.
He is like the worst kind of person.
It's like
He's so smart, though. Oh my gosh. He manages to hide his finding the bugs in every game as like look how bad I am at games. It's just like, no, this game actually just has a lot of bugs and I'm being paid a lot of money to play it. But it's not good.
yeah.
Back to you were talking about earlier with the deactivated code and such. I was reading on crack.com one of their articles about that, and it was talking about in GoldenEye. You could actually, there were files there for all 4 of the actors that played Bond at that time.
Really?
You could play any of them, but it was all deactivated. And someone finally put a mod out that let you play all, and the idea was you could have 4 Bonds at the same time multiplayer.
Oh. But
But
they
that
never
got totally scrapped. That never went anywhere, so someone did a mod to at least be able to get to see what the characters look like.
I know back when Watch Dogs was first coming out, they
God, Watch Dogs.
they
Best thing about
presented
it
on stage at E3, I believe, in a different set of settings and with a different set of shaders than the game was actually released with.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that the game didn't have them with them, but there was no setting that any gamer could just be like, oh, switch to the ones they used. You had to, like, modify the games and
You
switch
had to
around
go
files.
through a bunch of hoops just to activate the files that should have released with the game in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Watch Dogs is a whole different level of disappointment.
It's... Because it's like, Ubisoft had, like... Assassin's Creed was one of their biggest, like, franchises, and they've been riding that horse for the longest goddamn
And
time.
they still will.
so long
And they
to make a
finally
good
were like,
one.
okay, we're gonna put out a new series now, and just like it looked good, and it was conceptually a great game, but it was such a shitty port to PC.
Was it really a good concept?
It was. What do you mean?
Everything running on one sort of like system, like I thought that was really stupid.
Well, okay, logically, yes, it's stupid, but for a gameplay mechanic,
Yeah.
I'm not saying
I think the point of it is to just kind of point out, like, to people who think, like, technology is the future, to just kind of point out that to be a little wary with it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
things go wrong.
Yeah, but people
and
have been
people
pointing that
always
out.
have a way to go around these things.
People have been pointing that out for like 30...
Oh yeah, that was pointed out when
Exactly.
they were
that doesn't
talking
make
about
it still revolutionary art, because everyone's
That's true.
revolutionary when they come up with
Like,
these
I
things.
know, we watched some movie in an English class about a computer that completely handled sending out messages to the planes that were holding nuclear weapons, and I think it was called failsafe, where the computer basically was the reason for dropping a bomb in Russia. And so, I don't know, the computer had sent out orders to a plane, the plane got the orders, and basically how the people in the plane were trained was, no matter what, once those orders come through, no matter who talks to you, you drop that bomb. Because you don't know if they're trying to
They're being coerced or
interfere
whatever else.
or something like that. You drop the bomb. And so basically what happened was, it was the president of the U.S. and the prime minister of Russia talking, trying to negotiate, and basically how they ended up settling it was the president said, okay, from what I have heard, once the bomb is dropped, I have an ambassador in the city that the bomb is going to. I've heard that once the bomb is dropped, his end of the phone, because they were all on the phone together, his end of the phone will make a very shrill shrieking noise. If and when that happens, there's a plane going to New York. The plane has a nuclear bomb. If the noise happens, the bomb in the plane drops. So basically what happened was Moscow got bombed and New York got bombed. And that was the end of it. It was basically, computers are shitty.
It was taking the original movie War Games and extending on to that next level.
And it was the general in that movie was the father from Tommy Boy.
Oh, okay.
So it was an older one. It was a screenplay that they did live TV. It was it worked
50s,
a lot like
60s.
a soap opera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but War Games, that's the whole premise. They started with the cold intro to the movie. Was, okay, we can't trust the people in the bunkers anymore because sometimes they'll stop and question orders. So we got to take them out of the loop. Yeah, well, guess what? There's another problem. Hence, fail-safes. You have to have a way around that. So.
Last night you were showing me the Spider-Man from 77.
Yes.
Dear God.
The way I started this, so you two know, is if you guys think anything is wrong with TV today, go watch what the top-of-the-line superhero movie was, or a TV show was back then. Okay? Don't tell me how bad you guys got it when I had that for Spider-Man. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Because we got on the discussion because we were talking about the web shooter. Is it genetic, organic in his arm, or is it a device he hooks onto it? Well, the 1977 had that covered. I think Nathan's going to bring this up here.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see. Oh, this is part of it.
The audio of it?
It's going to be a little weird with the microphone, but I'll see if I can't. If I can't get it figured out, I'll just mute the volume for a while. But
yeah.
So that should go there. Let's see if I can't find a spot. No.
This is the first episode. It may be a while till you get to it.
Well, it's an hour and a half, I would hope. Was it just one movie?
There it is, right there.
Okay.
No, it was a TV show.
That costume, though.
Okay, apparently he got a
doesn't
cold.
have the web shooter at this time.
Oh, he doesn't?
Not at that one.
Ah, damn it.
Anyway, part of what I was going to say is it watches eyes because they had sunglass reflective things. When it was a distant shot, the camera wouldn't be reflected in, and it was solid metal with holes poked in it when it was something that was going to be close up.
I gotta say, really good costume for back then.
True.
Yeah.
It's really accurate to how they are now, to how the costume is now, at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got...
Now, this is all in New York. Does that look anything like New York?
No, wow.
It's L.A.
It's L.A.
Yeah.
It's pure L.A. because that's
doesn't
where it
even-
was cheapest to make it.
Why wouldn't they just go with LA then?
Yeah. But
Just
look at his
change
arm
his
when he's
backstory.
on here.
He's got a little golden band. This is the first time I've seen them. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Is that good graphics or what?
This is the first time I've actually seen them, like, try to make
Okay,
him...
he's Superman now.
He's free falling, okay? Get over it. Is that Chekhov that's flying that? I don't know.
Oh my god, that's
Is it in his dick?
And I was saying,
gotta have a good anchor.
they got the belt here to show that he carries around cartridges, and it hides the harness they used to string him up half the time.
But...
Why is Colonel Sanders on this helicopter right now?
He's stopping him from selling that chicken. It's too
Yeah.
cheap.
And there's one of the techniques they used a lot of times was the first-person cameraman, so all you got to see was the arm. But
Yeah.
the gloves are like ready to fall off him. But when I was growing up, this was good quality. It was amazing the things they could do because I hadn't seen better.
Yeah, and then now this is just... Oh.
Campy.
Yeah.
It's a bag of dog shit. Oh, God.
LA doesn't even look similar to New York. Why?
Not even
Why
close.
would they do that?
Because they just
Nice
didn't
tuck and
have the
roll.
budget.
Yeah, I was honestly gonna say if it wasn't LA, it looks almost like Toronto or something
Yeah.
in Canada.
No, it's definitely LA.
I wish I could find the episode we watched, because my favorite part was...
Like that.
Yeah.
He can't act, or you can't see his facial expression, so he's constantly doing the head thing. He literally asked a question like a dog. It's like,
It's a fucking Power Ranger.
And then one of the times, I think I was telling you on the way up here, but basically, there was a helicopter at the edge of a building, he shot a web onto it, turned the helicopter facing him with a web, and through some form of friggin' mimicry, told the pilot that the landing pad was rigged to blow if they would land there, so you need to stay off. And
yeah,
he was like,
all he did was this kind
"Okay."
of things, you know, and there's a, oh, are you telling me, Spider-Man, that it's rigged to blow up?
Yeah. What? It's like that's you didn't get that from.
He just pulls out some naval signal flags. It's just
But the building they were working on was like a 15-story high, all glass. So he would run up the steps to go out on the roof. Oh, it's rigged to blow. He'd run all the way down to the bottom to climb up the outside, climb back down, face first, going down the side of the building, to run up the steps, to change in the Peter Parker outfit so he can talk to his boss in there, to change back to Spider-Man, to go outside to run up the side of the building again.
I need to show you him
God, we haven't
climbing.
used any climbing budget this episode. What can we do?
I need to show you the climbing, because the climbing's goddamn ridiculous.
I'm sure it's very similar to the Adam West Batman.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's the same kind of idea, except for they actually had the harness and they did a distance shot.
But yeah.
Adam West Batman, yeah, you could tell it was a sideways camera. There was no way around
Yeah,
it.
because it was just like, I'm not going to look for it, but it was just him.
He's just doing this while he's going up in the air.
What was it, the Batgirl episode where...
Yeah.
And then, like, I
She just,
love...
like he like does that and like accidentally grabs her chest and she's just like...
I love whenever, like, he'd jump up to the ceiling. It was like, jump, and then all four were just equal half the way up. It's like, no, your arms would hit and you'd sling your legs up.
Yeah, like a fly landing on the ceiling. How close does a fly get to a ceiling before it has to turn upside down?
Yeah, exactly.
So we went from Watch Dogs to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just made that jump.
I would say, I told you we wouldn't be too topical. Yeah, so if those of you watching, you'll never know.
Yeah.
All zero of you watching, please pay
That's true.
attention.
My dad's gonna watch it, he told me.
And it'll be the best one he's ever watched.
Yeah.
And we'll probably watch it a few times before we actually post it.
Well, I would say, I'm gonna have to watch...
And
I'm gonna see if
by
I
us,
can...
I mean Nathan.
Yeah, I would say. I'm gonna be the one cutting it
Yeah.
1/4 of the team will actually see it. So.
Yeah.
before it's actually posted.
Oh, I meant ever. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
But
Oh yeah, RPGs.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Back to the special effects idea and all that, which is where we kind of spun off on this thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Within the RPGs, they've definitely come a long way on giving good dynamics on the different pieces. You were talking earlier before we started with Lord of the Rings and the magical feel of the world.
Yeah,
That's coming out more now than there ever was before.
Yeah,
it's not just someone that runs around and, by the way, has magic.
Yeah. I don't really like someone just like, I can throw fireballs. It's like, okay, that's cool. I like it when the world's like all these weird magical plants and like creatures that you don't see.
I like them
Things
just
you
being a
can't
force
explain.
of nature, not something that can be harnessed.
In like Morrowind there were these Nyx hounds and these terrible like cliff racers and all these monsters. It's like I've never seen anything like these. Those kind of look like dogs.
Dogs?
Those kind of look like dogs, but they're insects. And then Skyrim, there's deer.
Yeah. Oh,
There's deer and wolves.
by the way,
There's a dragon.
we should probably introduce ourselves.
Nah, fuck that. He's light blue sweatshirt, you're real big fish Thundercats, I'm dark blue long sleeve-ish thing, and he's Star Trek. We're good.
Okay. Anyway, going from left to right,
You sure?
introduce yourself.
James Franco.
Okay, I'll just do it. Brendan, Nathan, Kevin,
Don't be a
and
racist.
Doug.
Just because I'm this color, you think my name's Kevin.
Um,
You've never seen Kevin Hart? Boy, now I'm being racist.
yeah, asshole.
You gonna learn today.
Oh God. Let's think of what else has been around.
Oh, I'm going to throw out just while you bring that up, with going back to the conversation I was having with Elaine earlier. The falling off of a tall building in an RPG, or any tall height. You had the game you were playing that you accidentally jumped off the tower and you twisted an ankle 5 stories later.
My character is made to be tougher against it.
Okay.
He's just sitting in 100 pounds of armor and he falls off and has no problems whatsoever.
I completely understand where you're coming from. I do like in RPGs when you're able to make your character able to handle that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, the Assassin's Creed, you fell off something tall, you could try to tuck and roll and get through it. Much better than how many games have I watched you play that, oh sure, the guy jumped out of the helicopter, he'll be fine. Okay, what exactly was that? A realistic gaming? So.
Oh man, Oblivion, training your acrobatics.
Yeah.
You get your acrobatic skill so high that you can fall from any distance and not take any damage.
The best part about it is the way to train yourself is just jump against the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go
the
to
very-
that one general store in the docks of Anvil and jump up on the counter because there's a tiny amount of space. Just spam Y.
I know. I know. In the very beginning of it, when
I was
you're in
gonna
one of
say
those-
the first dungeon you find a corner. It's
Yeah.
perfect height. You just
Yeah. It's just, there we go.
you got your acrobatics like
100
50
acrobatics.
before you're even out.
See, but that's where I like DDO. Well, DDO, you get magic items that have feather fall. That's the first thing I always equip with my character as soon as I can get to one, because I've fallen off too many cliffs.
I know I'm gonna do this.
I'm going to do it. I just want it taken care of, not thinking about it. And every once in a while I'll forget and I'll switch items out and not realize I switched that one out, and I jump off something way too high to be jumping off of, and it shows me dying. There, okay? Realistic.
The problem is there is no such thing as realism in these games. Like when we were playing Payday, Andy and I were going in that one route. We jumped onto some containers to get into this like shipment area. I fell 1 foot less than Andy. Andy goes down. I don't. I have full health. No problems whatsoever.
Yeah. It's
That
a
might have
total
been
pass or
with
fail.
some of your skills.
No, but
Really?
I'm pretty sure he had the same ghost skills. Because that's a really low level skill to have.
That's true, because
That
it's
one
like an
extra
ace
foot
of
really
the
let him
first.
build up some momentum.
So
Yeah.
like if you're going to implement a mechanic where falls do damage at a certain level, you should have it like as an increment rather than just as a wall. Once you hit that wall, bam, you're dead immediately.
No.
that's-
There's a reflex save going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He got a 1, you got a 20. It's just...
World of Warcraft has a really good increment system for your fall damage. So That's nice.
Like, I wish more games would be like Fallout, where they have a gore system, an injury system. Like, why is that not more prevalent in an RPG?
You get shot in the leg. Ow, my leg hurts. I limp now, and I can't run as fast.
You can't run as fast. Like, that's
3.
That
one of the
sense.
things is like if you get shell shocked, you're just
if
you
take
can't
a head
see
injury,
for shit.
If you take a head injury, your like vision will like go fully white for a while. You like be all dazed and dizzy.
Yeah,
it's really realistic.
That's a good way of doing that stuff.
Fallout 3 is one of the best RPGs I've ever played.
Like that, and then you take the gore engine from Call of Duty World at War.
Why is
that not something that is in every game?
It's a game
because
about war
that is
and the
so
technology.
fantastic.
The
and they're like,
technology's
"Hey,
only got-
here's this really cool gore mechanic. It works amazingly. We did so well on this. Let's take it out of the next game."
And it wasn't
tasteless.
It was
the next
very
game,
tasteful.
wasn't it a different developer?
Yes, it was World.
But so,
but
and that's
when
the
you're-
difference.
Modern
when you're
Warfare 2,
continuing the
which was
world, you
Infinity
continue
War,
those
Well,
things.
no, I understand that, but Black Ops, they implemented dolphin diving. Took it out the next thing, Black Ops 2 brought it back. There's just certain developers are like, this is a good thing, and then the next developer's like, no, this is shitty.
I just don't
and then
know
they
why
get it
there's
back,
two
and they're like,
developers
here's what
for
we're
Call
doing.
of Duty.
I don't know how
Treyarch
that
was
works.
I
clearly
mean,
the
I know they
superior
want to
one.
do back-to-back year after year, but they're still releasing the same
Yeah.
shit every year, so why do you need 2 years to work on it?
Yeah.
You're not doing any innovation, you're re-releasing the same game.
And again, it's not that hard to package up the idea, the concept. We did this, keep this around. You know, this is something we're working on for the next version. Okay, well, the one after that, we ought to be thinking about it also then, shouldn't we?
I gotta say, if I wanted to play a game that there were 13 sequels to, I'd play Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's the final fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been saying that for
They'll
years.
keep. Well, that's why they keep making
Yeah,
them.
so-
Well, that's the thing. One of the articles I was reading on it was talking about that he really thought he would be out of business. He thought that was last chance. It's not going to happen. It's going to fail like everything else, and I'll be done. Silly him.
Yeah.
Final Fantasies, they're really good games for the most part. I've heard that they changed style, and like I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't like the newer ones as much.
I
as
just
the
can't
ones.
stand the oversized, totally impractical weapons.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
let's
those are
not
goofy.
even count the fact that you have to lug that thing around from place to place. You know,
Yeah.
any knight with a claymore would be strapping it to his back. No, he'd have it on the horse. You
Yeah.
know, he'd have the page carrying it for him. Okay, he's not going to carry it himself. Let alone this one that I'm one-handing this thing that must weigh 80 pounds.
Yeah. Cloud in the Final Fantasy games just has this huge sword, and he's
Yep.
And that's why in Ruby, what they were talking about is, I can't remember who, it would have been like one of the writers, Carrier Miles, were like, they had that same opinion where it was like, yeah, that's stupid. Why would they have such a big weapon? They wouldn't be able to use it that well. But when Monty showed him how she fought with it, it made sense because a lot of the motion is just perpetual
Momentum.
motion and the way she fought was using the momentum she had built up in a way to fight, and a lot of the combat in that show is just based off of momentum with guns.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of the attacking. Even I know Yang has gauntlets. Whenever she punches, the shot goes off. So that's a lot of the
Impact triggering.
yeah.
I gotta say, I like
gotta
my
say is-
character. Yeah. I don't like the absurdly large weapons, like just absurd. I like the realistically absurdly large weapons.
Yes.
Like Gregor Clegane's sword.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or just a
Giant
really
claymore.
large, or Eddard Stark's huge claymore. It's like, oh, that's
Yes.
so cool, but it's accurately absurd.
It is accurate for the period and such. There's a great reality show that's on right now. I watch every once in a while. Big Swords. You seen that yet?
No, I haven't.
It's got a guy that's basically training people how to create swords, but he's doing all the big fantasy ones. The one I was watching is making a sword shaped like a dragon's head. That, by the way, you could hook up to he made it look like a barrel on the back, but it's a propane tank, and you could have him shooting fire out of it. Flamethrower.
awesome.
It was a fantastic sword. Totally impractical for real use, but for that look, that was perfect. You know, and they showed it going to town on watermelons and everything else you could throw in front of this thing before they ever fired up the flame even.
So we do play D&D a good bit, a lot of well, that's really the only
Old school.
Oh, yeah.
tabletop we play.
All the
but-
RPGs we've been talking about so far have been video RPGs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
we do play real D&D. I've
Yeah.
played since 1978.
Yeah.
So I've played. I never played version 3.0. I never played version 4.
Yeah.
Those are choices to skip those because I didn't like the way they were rolled out.
and 4 wasn't
But
a
everything
bad
else-
one. That's 4. The only reason Pathfinder existed was because 4 was just not good for tabletop. But anyway, Polygon, best tabletop RPGs of 2014 finalists from Board Game Geek.
Oh yeah, there is a Mass Effect D20 game.
It's in here. AMP 1 year apparently one is. It says if you miss Heroes television series, this one is apparently for you. You're one of the first people among humans to develop superpowers.
I remember that show being really good when I was younger, but I hear it wasn't actually that good.
Yeah, that's what I've.
Well, because it was a victim of the writer's strike.
Yes.
So they did really well the first couple seasons, and then the writers weren't there anymore, so they just jumped the shark completely.
Yeah,
and
the studio
tanked
was
the
not
show
going to
into
put
the
it
ground.
on hold like some shows did.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of those shows ended up dying a bad death because they just couldn't go on anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Call of Cthulhu.
always a good
Now
one.
in its 7th season, this Lovecraftian rule set has everything you need to bring the unspeakable horrors of life in the setting of your choice, noir or otherwise.
Yes.
Oh god. Chubo's marvelous wish-granting engine.
I've never heard of that.
The Clay That Woke.
No.
Dungeons and Dragons.
That's not number 1. That's kind of funny.
It's not. It's the finalists for it. It's not.
Oh,
like,
it's not-
They
It's
haven't
not in
announced
order.
yet. Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I think it's
Firefly role-playing game.
That's neat.
Yeah.
There's the book for it.
I don't know if that would make a great role-playing game, just because although they do create a really great extensive universe, they don't go too into depth on how things
And
go.
to be fair, they
Yeah.
really didn't have time.
Yeah, they
to.
didn't
No.
have time. He was busy getting ready for Avengers and stuff, I guess.
The Gaian Reach, written by Robin D. Laws, role-playing RPG of Interstellar Vengeance, and then Mass Effect, Mindjammer.
Sounds like a takeoff on Spelljammer, but that's probably just because I like Spelljammer and it was cool takeoff on D&D. So
And Monster Kart Mayhem, a kart
sounds
racing
awesome.
RPG where all the world's monsters gather for a 1,000-kilometer road rally.
Seriously?
Oh, that's great.
This
kidding
sounds-
me.
That's
The
fantastic.
Gumball Rally meets D&D.
That sounds so good. I call being the orc in a cart.
Night
Pulling
Witches.
You've got the razor blades on the hubcaps.
yeah. The can't remember the Roman word for it because I don't speak Roman. I guess don't know if that's an actual language.
Latin.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's apparently
I doubt I'm offending anyone.
Night Witches was like they funded the printing of like books for it through Kickstarter. Pathfinder, which is just kind of a break off of
Yeah.
D&D.
Yeah, it has got a lot of good material. A lot of the people
Yeah.
that were so disenfranchised by 4.0 went over there and did a lot
Yeah.
of great work.
It's
One
a
of my-
lot of really cool homebrew
Yeah.
stuff.
One
and-
of my favorite authors right now, up and coming authors, is Clinton Blue, Boomer. He was the one that was in the D&D Player's Handbook PSAs.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. D&D PSAs. He's the one behind all of them. Just fantastic stuff. He wrote a great book called Hole Behind Midnight. Fantastic modern fantasy that is out there. But he does a lot of stuff for Pathfinder and all that. It's
Okay.
really good stuff.
Star Wars Force and Destiny. Sortium. That one was another Kickstarter one. The Strange. Gotta go tame some Strange in a D20 game. Because God knows people who play D20 games won't be taming Strange in real life.
Yeah.
And Urban Shadows. Vampires, fairies, werewolf, and the undead populate this fantastically dark universe said after the modern apocalypse.
So it's Shadowrun redone.
I guess, but the way I see it when
Furry
it's
neckbeards have their romance fantasies.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You forgot the bronies.
Yeah.
Bronies.
Bronies win.
But yeah. Primal evolution. Pokemon. Have anything on that?
It's a really good turn-based RPG. It's kind of just like it's kind of like the earlier Final Fantasy games, but with monsters. Just kind of a spin on them. And it's like, you don't find these characters.
I would really
catch
just
'em.
appreciate if they would just like tone it down with the new Pokemon.
No. You gotta catch all 99.
Over-designing is a problem.
Because like I feel
All
like the fact that one of them is
718?
literally a fucking candle that evolves into a chandelier.
Oh, I
is,
love
is
that.
a
Wow.
little bit
Lampert,
ridiculous.
and
It's a ghost.
Lampert
it's a haunted
and
chandelier. Lampert, or no, Litwick, Lampent, and
Lampent.
Yeah, you fucker.
Chandler.
Chandelier.
Sorry, I never played that generation.
It's just
Imbecile.
it's kind of jumped the shark a little bit.
Everything
I like
after
the
Weird Al
series.
did
No. You can't give shit to that Pokemon. That Pokemon's decent. The ice cream Pokemon
Okay,
was
yeah,
where they
yeah,
jumped
no,
the shark.
Definitely.
You're an idiot. Ice cream Pokemon's great.
What about the garbage Pokemon?
I
There's
also
literally
love
a
that
garbage Pokemon.
I also love that one. I have a great card for it in the trading card game online.
Okay. Explain to me your loathing of Bidoof.
I think it's really cute. That's all it's got.
Really?
Okay, what's Bidoof? I don't know that
A
one.
stupid-looking, goofy rodent Pokemon. Every generation, they pretty much introduce a new rodent.
There's always got to be one rodent, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just stupid-looking.
How do you spell it?
B-I-B-do, idiot.
O-F-F?
Yeah.
God,
Two
your typing skills
O's.
are painful.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Wow, really?
That is stupid.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like a bad woodchuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what type is it?
Normal, yeah.
Wow.
That's like my...
So it's entirely worthless.
That's
Well,
like...
normal
I was going
types
to say
aren't
it's a
terrible.
beaver, but the tail is completely wrong, so I'm not sure exactly what they were trying.
Although Wigglytuff and Clefairy and, like,
That's a
Clefable
woodchuck.
are fairy
What the-
type now,
Is that what it evolves
yeah,
into?
no, no.
What?
That's just a mixture of like
No.
30
Okay,
Pokemon.
good.
Those are the wings of Ho-Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna
There's
say.
like one of the
Alright.
Regi evolutions.
It's
I don't know
good
which
fan
one.
art.
In the
Okay, I'll
center.
give you that much.
It's a kind of going joke because they created this Mega Evolution thing in the newest,
Oh, yeah.
in 6th generation Pokemon, and they were just like, why isn't there a Mega Bidoof? And they just like threw together all the legendary Pokemon.
Was that a Salamence one?
God, whoever's
Yeah, there's the
watching
wings
this
of
right now is gonna be
Salamence.
So confused about what the hell we're talking about.
No, he's going to splice over onto showing that.
Yeah, no, we are. It's up
Okay.
here.
Cool.
Why is it incognito?
Oh, that's a
Nice.
Yu-Gi-Oh reference. I think. What was it?
I
The
think I don't actually play it.
Warrior, Beaver Warrior, or something like that.
Oh yeah.
That was one of Yu-Gi-Oh's like first Pokemon. Or,
Yugi. Yami.
What was that?
That was one of
Yu-Gi-Oh!
one of Yu-Gi-Oh's first Pokemon after he beat all the Digimon with his Beyblades. Fucking quit, Nathan. Go home. Go home. I'm done with you.
Welcome to Brendan's Pokemon Talk. You're not welcome back.
No, I said go home. Jesus Christ, Nathan. Can't you listen to instructions?
Oh man.
Something wrong?
But
Not able to breathe real well, but you're good
my
otherwise.
two
so.
favorite types in the game are normal type is first, and then it's poison type.
flying.
I like normal type because although now it's a fairy normal type Pokemon, Wigglytuff is a little and Jigglypuff, but I use a Wigglytuff because it's evolved it's better. Just a poofy pink rabbit thing, and I can just breathe fire with it and like throw acid at people and shoot thunderbolts and everyone just because
Nobody expects it from the cute pink bunny.
Yeah, I can just
Got it.
learn everything. That's the best thing about normal.
See,
Pokemon.
I always root for the underdog, so my favorite types are fighting and fighting.
and dragon.
And dragon.
Fighting dragon. Those two. If there was a fighting dragon mixture,
We'll get there.
I'm sure at some point they're just gonna be like, fuck it, mega, like,
they've
everything
made
else.
Okay,
But that
We'll
has
just-
a D&D
we'll just
base.
throw
They
some-
do have that.
We'll throw some boxing gloves on a Charizard, because fuck it.
they made a psychic dragon Pokemon in 3rd generation. And they were like, wow, this is the strongest Pokemon that we've ever made, and it's still the strongest Pokemon they've ever made.
And it was a sidekick.
Psychic.
Psychic.
Oh, sidekick.
Yes,
I was like, sidekick?
No.
Thought I missed
type.
something totally on that.
In the 1st generation of Pokemon, there's the Psychic type, which was super, super strong. The only thing that could counter it was, I think Bug does counter Psychic. I don't remember if it did then. There was Pin Missile and Twin Needle and Leech Life. Those are the damaging Bug moves. None of them did any sort of damage, really.
Really?
Very small amount.
Splash.
Then there was Ghost. It's like, Ghost is the counter to Psychic. One Ghost damaging move, Lick. It's physical. All 3 of the Ghost Pokemon use special attacks, so they can't actually hurt very much with it. And also, all 3 of the Ghost Pokemon are Ghost and Poison type. Poison is weak to Psychic.
Okay.
So there's no they ran unchecked. They ran rampant.
And then, yeah, because I know what the types that Psychic are weak to are supposed to be based on the human psyche, and it's like,
Fighting is weak to Psychic. I
yeah,
like that. Darkness, like dark Pokemon, are weak to fighting. You don't need to be scared of the dark if you're really strong. Also, bugs are super strong against darkness, because the one thing scarier than the dark is bugs.
Well, if you get so swole, you just reach a supercritical mass, and you actually start just emitting light because you're radioactive now.
Yeah,
because you're
you're a
actually
beast-
just
you're
so
a
filled with mass.
you're
You
a
can't
Yeah, but
Paragon
that's right
of
before you turn
justice.
into a cockroach, so it's...
Yeah.
radioactive.
Oh, idiot.
That reminds me of
The
this.
barrel.
You guys have never heard of Damnation Alley, have you? It's an old sci-fi movie. It was really, really good. But it was, the end of the world. The axis shifts on the world and causes all sorts of problems. And one of the things that somehow is flesh-eating cockroaches. It's just a huge scene of flesh-eating cockroaches.
That's terrifying.
It was terrifying for sure. They had a really cool van that they drove around. Used to park right next to the freeway in Universal, California. Used to see the van be sitting there for years, just parked there.
Really?
Yeah. I used to drive by where the Batmobile was always parked too. It was an old abandoned gas station that had the Batmobile parked there for years. I think it's the one that Jeff Dunham owns now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the ones he owns. He owns more than one Batmobile. Actual one. Okay. Anyway, but Damnation Alley, like I said, those flesh-eating cockroaches were just, wow. That was just over the top. I just couldn't stand cockroaches anymore after seeing that movie.
Never liked cockroaches. Still don't.
Yeah.
I would say you only have to worry about them too much when you live in very heavily populated places.
When I lived in Hawaii, that was where it was really bad. Because, like I said, I had the one time after dropping Christa off at home, I took her trash down the hill as I was on my way back to base. So I was going to throw her trash out the bottom of the hill. Next day, I had a cockroach walk up across my neck while I was driving.
When I was signing my lease today, they were talking about, like, whose responsibility is it if someone happens to bring bed bugs or cockroaches into the facilities. And they're like, oh, we really don't have many problems with cockroaches. We have bed bugs sometimes. Oh, wait, no, we did have cockroaches that one time. But
Jesus
normally we do
shit.
take care of it pretty quickly. And I'm like, yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah,
to
I was
live
about to
here.
say-
So did you have to
The
bring
least-
that? Did you bring that up?
It was in the
No,
lease.
it was a
Oh,
doc. Yeah, it has.
okay.
Yeah, it's a part of the lease.
Yeah.
But
I know I read
They
about it.
said
so-
they exterminate them quickly, but that's kind of nerve-wracking to
Yeah.
me a little bit.
But
It
you're
quickly
required
is
to
not
not-
immediately after it's been seen. It's too soon or too long.
It had doublespeak in the lease, though. Part of it was, do not bring any furniture in that could have bed bugs. And if you do have furniture you think could have bed bugs, make sure you cover it in
I thought you're just not supposed to bring it in. So which one do you want us to do?
Whichever one suits their lawsuit needs.
Yes.
That's true.
Don't sue us, we'll sue you.
Yeah.
Oh man. What else is interesting?
I really like Dungeons and Dragons. Let's talk about that more.
That was a
Thank
weak
you so
fart.
much. Yeah, we
was a
got
really
that.
Weak fart.
It's because your butthole's so loose.
Anyway, new version, version 5
Oh,
of D&D. I'm really, really happy with
Excited.
it.
I am
It's
also.
really brought back a lot of the old flavor to me. So,
It's reminding me that if I try and have a serious character, I will do poorly. As soon as I start acting goofy or using my character
the
wrong,
dumber
I'll
you
do
act, the better you do.
Yeah.
And it affects the dice roll somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, we have that one session here where everybody was critical missing something. Every time somebody was critical missing something.
Yeah, good thing that was when we encountered Bugbear.
Yeah.
Or Owlbear.
Owlbear.
That was our first.
That was before the Owlbear Don't Care just started going out
Yeah.
online. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm like, Jesus
And
Christ,
then those
we're
keep
really
getting
going
close.
with the Owlbear theme.
I'm never gonna forget this mental scarring if we keep seeing Owlbear.
Yeah, no shit.
For the viewers, if anyone ever watches this, what happened was when it was the first adventure with 5.0. I started off with the some of the pre-made characters, and you guys rolled up characters of your own and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But you come into it, and one of the first encounters you run into
Which
is
Fucking stupid.
was the people you're looking for got ambushed. So here are their dead horses laying there. Well, one of the horses was dragged off into the bush. And for whatever reason, these guys decided...
Why
the
is
first
that not
level,
a bad idea?
We're curious.
Let's
I
go
thought-
see what was big enough to kill them
I
and
didn't-
drag
I
off
didn't-
a war horse.
It didn't cross my mind that it would be something big. I thought it would be several goblins.
That's what I think all of us really thought was
Yeah.
like, hey, goblins would eat
expected
horse
goblins.
meat,
And-
right?
And if you were actually checking for the trail instead of just following the obvious...
We didn't
you
have
had
a ranger.
That would have been handy, but no, that's okay.
Also, I'm a very smart rogue that's really good at investigation. I should have done that.
Yeah.
No,
Either-
you're very good at murdering people with crowbars.
A crowbar on a rope.
Either way, as they're going through, they follow through, and sure enough, they run into the owlbear, who proceeds to kill the cleric in the first attack, and everybody else within 3 rounds after. Totally wiped them out. So I went ahead and took it easy on him since it was new, and I didn't want to go back through the horrors of writing doing characters again, which is still better than 5. I'm not going to argue with that, but instead they woke up just before they went and followed that track, and they just all had this really horrible dream about how bad it would be to go do something that stupid.
Because to be fair,
I did that because my first character was killed by the dungeon master, wandering monster. Before I ever saw anything else, I ran into a bugbear, killed me. My DM tore the sheet up and made me restart a new character, who ran into a wandering monster bugbear who got killed. Tear up the sheet, start again. I don't know why I'm still playing D&D today.
I was
Charles,
gonna say-
if you're out there listening to this, you're an idiot.
I was just saying, I'm like, okay, when it's a total party, like, if one person got off, yeah, that's one thing.
Yes.
But when it's a total party kill, it's like, okay, everybody restart now. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Now when it's something like this, you didn't have any real experience between when you woke back up and when you had died. You didn't have any treasure you gained. There was no difference. I mean, short of a few arrows, that's the only difference that you had consumable. So I felt it was right for the total party kill to just go back to your save point. Let's start from there.
We all look down that path. We're like, and have the same fantasy. It's like, let's not go down there.
Nah, let's get that. And to be fair, 1 or 2 sessions later, after you guys leveled up a couple,
We killed one.
Oh, we murdered the fuck out of that
Caleb
thing.
did.
Yeah,
He hit
that's
the
true.
people's elbow.
yeah.
He dropped down. He's like, and then he got like the double strike.
Yeah, I don't know how he managed that one. He somehow rolled off of one elbow and then smashed it with the second elbow.
Monks are so strong in that version.
Yep.
They get their wisdom to their armor class in addition to
Yeah, it's
dexterity.
insane.
Yeah. Which also what got me was Caleb was just coming into the game.
That's
You know,
true.
he was joining us 3 sessions in, so
He's
he
like
was
a level
being
behind us.
held captive under the owlbear. The owlbear was guarding him.
Yeah.
So as soon as you guys freed him, now it could go ahead and take care of him. He had the total ability to after he was free.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if it would have been me in that damn cage, well, screw it, I don't have anything. But
Yeah.
a monk is the perfect one to be stuck in a friggin' cage. Because God knows he doesn't need anything else.
Yep.
One thing I've learned from this new campaign for us is that when I put my serious pants on, I can actually do shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
like
I'm
most of
not-
the time, I'm just fucking with Nathan. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty
I
much
can't
That's
tell you how many
90%.
times he's
Okay,
tried to
no,
kill
no, no.
Nathan.
if
Also,
we would actually not, if we would not fuck with Nathan, you know how much further we would get in these campaigns?
Wait,
But how much fun do we
aside
have?
from me, I only do well when I fuck around.
Because, like, when I put my serious pants on, we ran into the boss. He, like, brought in his henchmen, and he thought he was gonna capture us and take the thing. And I just cast one spell and killed all of his henchmen and the boss instantly. One move, they're all dead.
And that was the
one guy is just like,
That was the funniest goddamn thing.
Okay, you're good. I will go.
The funniest thing was Doug sitting there rolling for saves. He's like, oh shit. God damn it.
As I said,
And then
every video
flicks
had
the
that.
goddamn character over.
I like my tracking down the invisible drow. And we
He
get
he was completely naked. Why did you take your armor off?
because I was really mad because I paid money for this armor that's worse than a spell.
That's right, my spell gives you better armor than your armor does. So he took his armor off, completely naked in the middle of the fight. He ties a rope to his crowbar, and that's his weapon. And then he just chases after the main evil guy with the crowbar. And every time he loses track of him, just throws it straight up in the air, smacks him in the face with it.
I just rolled 20.
20s. When you don't expect it, you roll a 20. I'm like, how am I supposed to play this? Okay,
way-
yeah, you chip the stone.
The way we
It's
all
up there,
just
okay?
like, the way we all picture that was you just sitting there with the crowbar.
I'm just like, I bet he's up there. Come here, laddie.
And then you hit him, and I just picture you going after the crowbar, it scurries away. That way.
You can't Cornelius.
And then the drow's just sitting on top of the ceiling, just like, oh god, no, not again, please, not the crowbar, not the crowbar, oh god!
He's just running, he's just like casting every spell he has over his shoulders. And I was like, hi-ho, hi-ho.
Oh god. And then leaving the cave, it was just you at the mouth of the cave, him running across the
I
plains.
just glare at him.
Next time.
Just swinging his crowbar right by his ball sack, just...
I'm just sitting there swinging it, and I just kind of on the ground, hold it like I'm heroic or something.
I mean, that drow might have survived that day, but honestly, if he comes back to reform his criminal organization, he has gotten some serious therapy, because that is not a trauma that you come back from.
He had to drink health potions to not die.
Yeah, I was
not-
saying.
Like I said, I had the perfect escape plan for him, if not for the fact of somebody getting that kind of luck rolling every time you tried. I mean, it goes back to the one time when I was first teaching Kevin and a couple other guys to play D&D, and one of them was like, well, I'll shoot an arrow in the air. Rolls. 20.
Yeah, that was our first run.
Yeah, that's what it was. You get to the stream and there's a salmon laying on the thing with an arrow through him, all ready for dinner.
Oh man. I wish my armor had been worth them. I didn't have money.
Like,
Now I have all the money.
That's just
what's
such a
when you
stupid
start
thing.
from zero, that's what happens, so.
Yeah.
But, like, there's literally no point for you to ever get armor until it's super enchanted, because...
all unenchanted light armor
It's
is
just-
weaker than that spell.
You naked fighting is more armored than you having actual armor.
I could wear clothing, but I think I should. I feel like I should get a bonus to maybe not intimidation, but they should have to make like a will save.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
like,
I was doing that in DDO, my half-orc barbarian I was running on DDO. I had him with the bracers, protection, natural armor. So I had him running around in underwear, but he had like a 42 armor class.
Yeah.
So it's...
I like to think that if your character isn't wearing a lot of clothing, everyone should just be kind of unnerved and have to make a will save to attack you unarmed. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to touch you.
Everyone watching our party just has to roll like a sense motive check, just to be like, what the fuck is that dwarf doing? He's just naked.
Just standing there,
He has
like,
hundreds of pounds of gear on his back, and he's just naked.
standing there like acting
Yep.
like a hero with my crowbar.
Which also goes back to the old Dragon magazine. My favorite comic out of that, and I gotta find it and get it up. I got the DVD or CD version of the thing I gotta find. Favorite comic is it's two fighters talking, and one of them has a huge pack with 8 swords hanging out of it and armor hanging off the side and all the rest of it. The other guy's saying, so you're telling me if I ignore encumbrance, it doesn't happen? That's the way a lot of people end up playing D&D. I'll just walk around with 80, 90 pounds of stuff on my back, no problem.
Oh gosh, my DDO Bard can carry 3,995 pounds. That's his maximum encumbrance.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of bards, here's my problem with the new edition. Is that everything can be made into a fighter.
Yes.
Which I don't agree with whatsoever. It's just like... Cause
it dilutes what fighters are really supposed to be. They're supposed to be the stand-out, they know all of the martial stuff, they know all the tactics, they know all that great stuff that the other ones are just in awe of and have other things to make up for it.
Because, like, the Bard class traditionally is like a support buff class, right?
Yeah,
for like the whole party. You sing a
that makes you
song,
stronger.
everyone's awesome, you get bonuses and shit. But like in this edition you can have this special kind of Bard that like buffs himself and makes his armor better and makes his attack better based off his charisma. And it's like, it's just a fighter that's using a different base stat. What is the point of that? Just make a fighter.
Yeah.
Or like rangers can do that, and clerics can do that, and druids I think can do that.
And again,
they're just fighters.
At low level, that's what they are. And when you go back traditionally, what the magic user, the wizard, or whatever you want to call it is, I had my 2 or 3 spells I got for the entire day until I rest for 8 hours. Okay, what happens around that? Dagger, dart, staff.
Yeah.
Okay, there's only so much I can dagger, dart, staff without looking like a fighter with a dagger. That's...
Things with that, I don't like that they're just fighters. I wish they were like weaker than fighters and had to mix in spell combat to compensate.
something. And that's where I like the way they've added the cantrip now is unlimited. I mean, one of the things I'd seen in earlier versions, again, another Dragon magazine, I think, was what they called panache. Panache is, it's like a lower form of it. Like the one I used was, okay, I can light up a pipe or anything else. I can produce flame the size of a lighter. Okay, that's panache. I'm not going to hurt anybody short of giving them a hot foot.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, that I can charm a small green snake I see. That's as far as I can go on the charming
because,
side.
what I really like about cantrips is that they're not worthless at all.
Right.
Like, they make it so sorcerers can actually be useful
And
throughout
be
the day.
casters.
Every one of the classes that uses magic has a cantrip, at least one cantrip that's like, wow, if I have that, what do I need a higher level spell for in some cases?
Exactly. Like
It lets you
Magic
survive.
missile.
Like my firebolt that I use
Oh, yeah.
constantly, I can get up to like 4 die 8 with that. That's an insane amount of damage for
for a first level
for
guy.
an infinite spell. And it's like what always bothered me is that a wizard or a sorcerer's backup when they run out of spells is always going to be the same. You can have a level 20 that still has to use a 1 die 4 dagger as his backup. You know how worthless that is against a 300 hit point dragon?
Especially when you look at the magic user is supposed to be back behind. He should have a ranged weapon then.
And what's it going to do?
A
Get
bow
a
is way
light
too
crossbow?
complicated.
Yeah.
That's why, at least not when they did I think it was 3.0, is that when they brought up sorcerers could at least use crossbows. It's a simple thing. Okay, you don't need a whole lot of training to get a crossbow mildly effective. You may not be a great target shooter, but you can do something.
Especially when it's a giant target who...
Although,
it literally is the size of the side of a barn. I can hit that.
I also don't like the things just being fighters with a different base stat, but I like to take solace in the fact that although they're just a fighter with a different base stat for a while, eventually they're worse off than a fighter or a caster version of that class.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
It's just-
exactly.
If you're
It
playing
gets there.
It's really great if you're playing on your own to play something like that. Like if I was gonna play on my own, I would probably play a cleric that could fight really well, so I could just kind of heal myself and fight.
It's not my feet that are pushing it over.
Oh, it's fine.
Not mine.
I don't know. The
No way.
table was slow, just pushing that. I don't know. Anyway.
Gravity's heavier on that side, away from me.
Yeah.
It's funny how
it's a good thing, but I think like it shouldn't just be with a different stat. Like I think you should have to compromise. It's like, oh, if I want to be good at fighting, I need to take some strength and maybe spend some feats on like learning a martial, like a weapon focus or something.
Again, not quite a full take a level in it.
Just like I need to kind of dabble in war if I want to be some sort of warrior.
And
that being said, War Priest is one of my favorite classes.
Yeah.
Like,
one of the things they, when first starting into that kind of idea was, back version 1 of D&D, AD&D, was you just didn't have the ability to multi-class all that well. Once you started, you could dual class as a human, which means I went up to level 4, and I started back at level 1 of the next thing. And I had to work my way up to 4 before I could do anything with either one of them really well. If I was a sorcerer all this way going up, and I started casting spells, I stopped getting experience points for casting spells, so I couldn't go up as a fighter while I was doing that. It's like, okay, that's a little too much this way. Just like the skills, only a thief can learn how to pick a lock. I taught myself how to pick a simple lock, okay? I don't need to be a full thief level to be able to do that. So some of those things can be picked up.
I'm a level 0 fighter. I mean, come on.
Well, and that's what I was getting at, was that everybody in the world was a 0, and then, bing, I'm an adventurer 1. They explain it more now that, by the time you say you're a fighter, it means you've been through all the military training and all the rest of it before you really start first level.
There's an assumed background.
Yeah, assumed background. You'd think with that assumed background you'd do a little better than what an actual first level does, though.
Yeah.
But,
I like to think when you're at first level, you're just like any other soldier in the army.
Yes.
Which you dispatch a lot with ease by the time you're like level 5, so it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like my fantasy with a touch of realism. I like to be able to think of it in that term.
Otherwise, the fantasy kind of doesn't... Like, if there's no realism, the fantasy doesn't seem very fantastic.
Exactly. Talking earlier about the game mechanics of when you get injured. D&D always had a major gap on that for me. I took enough damage to almost kill me. It probably scarred me a little bit. Maybe took off an arm or a leg. No, they didn't have stats for that in the basic game, so you just didn't have that.
Yeah.
I'm alive or I'm dead.
Oh,
that's...
I'm either working at full capacity or 0 capacity.
Yeah. I was playing Pathfinder with my cousin, and there was this like weird magical gauntlet thing. And I was playing a bard that used his fists. And that's my usual...
The best kind of musician.
Yeah. Half-orc bard. Well, no, he was a vocalist, and he spoke abyssal. He was a death metal singer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And,
so Ozzy, okay.
Yeah, he was a half-orc barbarian.
Oh, sorry, Kiss. Yeah.
He had the axe.
Yeah. I did have an axe. I didn't use it.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Why would you use that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
so going ahead with
there's a magical gauntlet thing, and I was like, oh, that could be cool for me to punch people with. And I put my hand in it, and it just without thinking. This doesn't pertain to anything. I just think it's a funny story, and I had to make like fortitude saves constantly because it just had this freezing spell, and it froze off my arm from the elbow down. Then there was another one, and I was like, maybe this one. And then they're like, no,
"Hi guys, I'm Stubby."
Then they didn't let me. They stopped me from putting my arm in that one.
That could have been the one that granted you every wish you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't want you to put your arm, but
That
there's
being
something
said-
else you could have put in it.
That being said, we had someone who was like in our party who was able to who was making automatons and stuff. And she made me a magical arm thing. Yeah. So that was cool. I
And then
totally
you
traded
became
up.
Anakin Skywalker and it was less cool.
Yeah. Buff Anakin Skywalker.
Oh god. All right. So off of games a little bit.
Gosh.
Oh, shut up.
I only like games.
All right. Somebody brought up this topic not too long ago. I thought it was kind of interesting. Female celebrities that most people generally think are attractive that you don't.
Slightly off topic from video games, really?
I didn't say slightly.
A little bit. It's just like, here's video games. There's the fucking thing you just mentioned. How's that?
Well, I mean, come on.
Here? Or like...
Jennifer Lawrence.
Is she the
Hunger Games.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, her face is just a
Reddit
little
raves
weird.
about her. Well, used to rave about her. Then there was the fappening. Now they rave about her less. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really okay. So my main problem with her is she's obviously attractive. Like that can't be questioned.
I've always-
Celebrities are attractive.
Whenever people bring stuff like that up, I'm like, I can understand the difference between objective and subjective attractiveness. I can tell when somebody, they are very attractive. I just don't find them that attractive.
Yeah.
Like, my problem with it is that Reddit loves her because she's so quirky. That is my least favorite thing for you to ever say about a person ever. She's quirky.
Oh, you're just quirky.
You know why that celebrity is quirky? Because that's what the PR team told her to
Yeah,
be. Like,
exactly.
she's not actually quirky. She's rich and famous. And she does rich and famous things, but on camera, she's quirky. Because she's just a normal human being, just like you and me, except she's worth like $50 million. There's a slight difference between you and her.
Except, yeah,
Hey, the
except
Olsen twins could beat her with a pinky.
Yeah, shit. Most people, like, apparently it's a really stereotypical thing to, or no. I was watching a College Humor video. I didn't know it was, like, basic bro to have a crush on Emma Watson. Like, I can understand that, but
She
it's
is
like,
attractive. I can see the appeal with the British accent, and she's very pretty.
but the thing is,
I
that
know you
guy's
hate British
yeah,
accents, but
but that, like, just because of
their
how
words wrong. They made the words and they pronounced them wrong.
just because of how often I listen to British like commentary and whatnot, that accent has just died for me. Like, it's not attractive to me any more than an English
Yeah,
or
I watch soccer
English
way too much
American.
for that.
Yeah.
On that topic, you guys don't know Downtown Judy Brown, do you?
no.
Early MTV. The black VJ when they first started. But she was from London. She had a very heavy Cockney accent. And it just sounded totally fake. Now, I said that to somebody once. They said, "Oh, you think there aren't any black people in England?" I said, "This isn't about her being black. It's about that's a lousy accent.
Yeah.
She happens to be black. That's not the point. It's a lousy accent."
That's the thing, is that it's a selling point once you get to
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. Because you're smarter and you're cultured. Just because you speak that way? No,
It's
I don't
not
think
even
so.
that. It's more of like an exotic thing.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't what people around me sound like.
Hence why the ATM is processing my transaction. No.
No, you're processing my transaction.
Kate Upton. I don't think she's as attractive as people think.
Which one is
She
she?
is-
She's a model
Here.
with
She's incredibly
really big
buxom.
boobs.
Yeah.
Move your damn feet.
She's very pretty. Very pretty. Very big tits.
Very, very buxom.
No hips whatsoever. She is like complete rectangle all the way down.
I gotta have hips.
Get an actual picture of her, not like a modeling picture.
Oh, come on.
Are there actual pictures of her?
There has to be one somewhere, right?
In order for
I don't
me
know.
not
That
to
one
have
of her in the
to...
black dress looks like it's from a red carpet.
Okay, in order so I don't have to edit as much, I switched over until I actually found one. Because
Yeah.
I didn't want to get
That's
some
not
tits.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, you don't want to bring up your browser history right now?
I'm on incognito right now. I don't know.
She's pretty, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's objectively pretty. She has to be. She's a model. She has very big boobs. Cannot deny that.
But there are a lot of models that they're models and people say they're attractive, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Get a picture of, like, her ass. Like, not that one in the bikini right there. But,
Alright.
like, just a picture of her from the front. Just, I want to see her hips, because they're just the saddest little things.
She's only in posing things there, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, I know. These are all poses that catch her in good angles, but, like...
Oh wait,
Like
wait,
that?
wait.
I like to think
How about this one?
This is actually... We're not actually discussing this as a point of debate anymore. It's just big boy playtime.
This?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Like, kind of.
Eh?
Just Google Kate Upton hips.
Well, alright.
Yeah, kind of that second one a little
Far
bit.
to the right. Far
Yeah.
to the right.
Huh?
I
Like,
see what you mean.
look at her torso. It's just not...
It's long.
It's rectangular.
I like that.
There's
we're just-
barely a curve at all.
We're totally.
Yeah.
She's
judging
supposed to
her.
I know, I hate this so much, but it's
Alright.
still...
Well, to be fair, she is a model. She's judged on
she-
appearance.
that's
as a
true.
job.
It makes millions to be judged on her appearance. It's fine. Like,
I'd
obviously...
rather see natural than Photoshop.
True.
Yeah.
But it's like, if she's supposed... Like, Okay, so my problem is because Redditors love her.
That's
So,
true.
Yeah, you're anti that.
She's
so
like considered to be like one of the hottest, probably the hottest woman in the world by most people on Reddit. And it's like she has a rectangular torso. If you're looking for the epitome of what the stereotypical superwoman is supposed to look like, that is not it. You can find a model that has more unrealistic proportions than that.
Let me see. My muse.
Don't like her.
was she in Twilight? That was
No.
on one of the search things. I did not know she was in Twilight.
Yeah, she had a very brief role.
Oh, she did?
Mhm.
Oh.
Oh,
She
man.
had like 2 lines with Bella.
I did not.
Okay.
I watched Breaking Dawn. I think part of it, like part 1.
Yeah.
I've never seen.
I've
any of
watched
them.
at most 2 minutes total of Twilight. That includes the trailers that were on.
Yeah.
She's kind of borderline for me because she's a quirky girl.
I did not know.
Although you didn't like Porky.
I know. That's why. That's
see-
why she's borderline.
Okay.
She's very attractive to me, but she's still quirky.
What's most attractive about her to me is the fact that she's actually a really good singer.
Oh, Nathan, I only like talented people.
Shut the fuck up! God damn, I'm gonna shit in your face tonight.
Well,
Now, let's,
Alright.
to be fair, take it around from the other direction. Of all these male models that have out or stars and such, they're overdone also just as much.
True.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I liked The Rock when he did The Scorpion King. I thought he was perfectly fine in that. You look at anything more recent than the Furious movies specifically, it's like, get over yourself, guy.
that's because he juices now and he's
Yeah.
gigantic. He's so huge. He's
It's
insane.
because he's getting older and everything's starting to sag. He's like, no.
Yeah,
But I'm
he's
actually-
seen Arnold Schwarzenegger these days.
That
You don't
being
want to
said,
go there.
That's true.
He is a really good person.
He is.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for a show coming out. Have any of you seen that?
Yeah,
It's
the
like
show?
the show where he it's just like a regular reality TV show where he just motivates people.
Wake Up Call.
Like that is it?
I know that is a show. It might be a different one that's coming out.
But it's I don't know what it's called, but it's just basically him just being motivational to people. I think more specifically it leans towards like getting in shape, but I think it's in general with your life too.
Wake Up Call is one that's just about like helping, because he's from a rougher background.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just about helping people like get out of their rut.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know,
I mean, if someone wants to juice and get super ripped, that's their thing. I'm just glad that he's a good person.
Yeah.
going from the other side is Vin Diesel.
Oh, he's great.
He's a great guy, does a lot of good things.
Mhm.
He got totally wasted his talent under Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's have a guy that has a body, but we'll just cover that up with a CGI.
Yeah.
And, you know, he can act with voice, so we'll give him one line he says over and over again. That's a great idea. Why would he even bother? You got to check. Anyway,
Yeah.
I say if they ever want to make a successful D&D movie, put him in it. Put
As the
people
fighter.
making them that know the game, play the game, love the game.
I want Vin Diesel to play the experienced fighter that
Yes.
leads the party.
Yes, something along that level would be good.
He'll have to be super grizzled for it though, and I've never seen Vin Diesel.
I
grizzled
think he
before.
would look really great with, like, if they just kind of made him look somewhat more gaunt
Mhm.
and stubble.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not real facial hair, but
Yeah.
stubble.
Stubble.
Doesn't have to grow in any of the hair that obviously isn't coming in by itself. So
Yeah, he'd just be that'd just be what fighters should look like.
right.
Maybe give him like a really good fake scar.
Yeah,
like,
a scar would be
somewhere,
good.
like-
He's got to be
Yeah.
like a veteran that's out of the business because something bad happened to him, and he's got to have a revenge plot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be
Or
mean
or
about
as-
it. He can let him have the humor. That's part of
Yeah.
what they always do is they take away the fact he's naturally a funny guy. He does funny things and says things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let him be that kind of jokester about it and the character. Let him get away with that stuff.
I could even see him being a rogue, having done the Riddick things. He's pretty much
Absolutely.
rogue in that.
I could definitely see him. And he said that he always approached the Riddick as a D&D type movie for him. And it makes sense that way, since obviously they didn't want to make a good D&D movie by itself.
Yeah.
I've watched them all. I've liked parts of them. I just wish they actually had people that cared about them. Gave it a budget that was worth it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this new game that apparently is coming out, this new D&D game they're working on, gets really big, because I want them to get some great income so they can make a great movie.
Yes.
I'm just so nervous about all the stuff they put out because
Yeah.
mm.
I know. The problem is that most
DDO
of it is
was
licensed
good.
by Hasbro,
Yeah,
and
DDO is
Hasbro doesn't know how to run that game. They need to let Wizard of the Coast branch just have control, and they back off.
Yeah.
Every time they try to stick their nose into it, it causes problems.
Oh yeah,
EA.
and that's
EA owns everything.
it's
Yeah.
because
They just
we
kinda-
have the money. We'll tell you what to do. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
I like that a lot of the time EA just doesn't take creative control until the final game of the series, and then they make it absolute crap.
Oh, God.
That being said, Mass Effect 3 was not absolute crap. I hate it a lot more than I do now. I used to hate it a lot more. Now I actually kind of like it.
It's not really that bad of a game.
It's not.
I liked it.
I didn't.
I
know
mean,
why
I
people
didn't have as much of an investment into the series when I watched Mass Effect 3, but because I had never played 1, never even considered playing 1. I was just not. I wasn't in that era of
A
gaming.
lot of people
really.
just didn't like it, and that's the entire reason they made what was it, Mass Effect. They made a special thing to where you could go through and do the choices in the first game through a series of graphic novel,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then have that character imported to 2.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, a lot of that very well now maybe just because, like, he's been playing Mass Effect 1 on Windows 7 with his current build, and there are just problems with it. Like,
Oh yeah, too strong. Like Mass Effect came out in 2008. That's a long time ago, even though it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait till you get older and you'll look back and think otherwise.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's just kind of triggering in my brain early because, like, I'm not old by any means, but, like, it just, like, things seem like they were...
Come on, man, you're pushing 20. I mean, come on.
It wasn't meant to run on, like, a high-performance PC, so, like, there's these 2 points in the game where you have to turn off the shaders through a console command.
certain
otherwise-
shaders, if you turned all of them off, it'd just be...
Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise, like, all the characters and entities and movable things turn into just big black wads of pixels.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's really weird.
It's game-breaking, like... You think you can power through it for the first couple minutes?
Nerd.
Oh, no.
My graphical problems with Far Cry 3. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Just because my my graphics card wasn't the right brand of graphics card because the other major graphics card company paid the game to specifically build it for their brand of graphics card.
Here's a set of codes that if you include
Oh,
these...
So mine
NVIDIA
would basically
NVIDIA does
break,
it all
so
the
these
time.
huge landscape textures just be all over the screen,
And they just
all over the
stretch
place,
out
and
and
stretch everywhere, and I can't see a goddamn thing because my screen is a mountain in it right here. So I would just have to shut down the game and restart it because that's the only way to fix it is just bail out and have to restart, and it would
That's
happen
hilarious.
all the time.
That's hilarious that they would sell out their
They
game
would
that
sell
much.
out the entire
Well,
game.
to be fair, graphics cards do that a lot. A lot of games are
Yeah.
based either through NVIDIA or AMD. But
That's
it shouldn't be
hilarious.
so... Well, to be fair, or not to be fair, but to explain it, it was a port in the first place, and then they tailored it to one card. It was just bound to be shit.
Like, it's okay for them to cater to cards, but don't make it game-breaking for the people who didn't buy the right type.
Yeah, because
Like,
it's not
that's-
like you're going to go out and buy a new card just to get past
Oh
that one
no!
part of
I
the
need to
game.
have one setup on this graphics chipset, one setup on this graphics chipset.
And that's part of where, we're talking before about games in general. You can very easily get to where the game is far beyond what the modern equipment has. I go back to when I was teaching people on the side how to buy a personal computer. And I was telling them, always buy the high end of it because, within a year or two it's going to be not good enough. This is back in 1997, somewhere in that area. Anyway, I had a guy just said, what do you mean? If I bought a computer today, you're telling me it's not going to be good in the future? How do you know that? Maybe it'll be perfectly fine for 10 years for me, 15 years. And I said, I got to think of it this way, okay? I said back in 1990, there shouldn't be anybody that needs more than a 386, 33 megahertz with like a meg of RAM. And I'll stand behind. That is all you need for a home computer. if you have the software that was out in 1990,
Yeah.
but every year then they put out new software, they're aiming it for the high end of the hardware. Because that way the hardware has to be
pushes,
sold.
yeah.
Pushes it always beyond. That's what they did on this. We're going to push it to the very edge, and that at that time happened to be that one driver.
No, the problem we're reaching with Ubisoft now is that they're releasing things beyond the hardware that is currently available on the market. Because with the new Assassin's Creed, I've been watching XCal play the new Assassin's Creed. He plays it on medium and gets 30 frames a second, maybe. He has an Intel i7, like, I think a 680.
Is that Rogue?
Yes.
It
No,
just
not,
came
not
out?
Rogue.
Okay. I would say
Unity.
Rogue's probably still on pre-order.
But
Don't
a
like
680,
Ubisoft.
32 gigs of RAM, and he can't get good frames on it. And
I'm
it's like,
trying to
it's
remember-
because they didn't optimize the code. Like, they released a version for PC ports that has upgradable graphics, which is fantastic, because most console ports are just like, no, go fuck yourself, we're not giving you any good graphics,
Yeah.
even though your hardware is better. But with Ubisoft, when they push out new Assassin's Creed, they're like, here, you can have great graphics, but you can't run it on anything that's not NASA's supercomputer. It's just not conceivable.
I don't like Ubisoft. I'm finding that out more and more every day. I gotta say, I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That is the
Yeah.
only Assassin's Creed.
Well,
I've
it's
ever
because
liked.
it's pirates.
It's
Yeah.
so much fun, though.
Again, it's because it's pirates, but even as an assassin game, it holds up really
That's
well.
true.
What they finally did right is they invested into mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an important part of a game. Like, graphics can suffer and story can suffer if you have good mechanics. Like Assassin's Creed story. Who the fuck plays Assassin's Creed for story?
Although Black Flag did have a pretty good.
It was a
pretty
good
solid
story, but
It
like
was
who,
still- it was
whoever
still an
gets out of
Assassin's
the
Creed story,
animus
but-
and just like, oh boy, time for some
Oh, I
real
hate
world
that.
adventures.
Oh, no,
I
that
just
is the
wanted the-
worst.
I
Hey,
just wanted the
hey,
historical
they had
part.
the thing with the one during the Revolution that any historical figure you ran into was actually alive at that period of time it was based on. And if they died in that way. So they at least stayed true to that. Why that mattered to sell American history to kids, I don't know.
And-
I wish they just. I wish it was just the historical part. I hate the part where it's like, oh, you were just an animus. I know you thought this game was cool, but it's not.
Yeah, I hated that about a lot of the games where it's like, I don't want the meta story in what's happening in the real world. The one you're laying out here is weird enough. Like, I don't know why people hated the first game so much.
Because it was repetitive.
It was, and I agree with that. To be fair, the first, like, going into Jerusalem, which I believe was the first one, not completely sure.
It was.
It was a fun game, and yeah, like you said, it did get really repetitive. But story wise, it made decent sense.
Story-wise,
and
it was great.
it laid the foundation for the story of everything else. And I think they kind of held on to that rope for a while in trying to coast the story while they built up game mechanics. Because what everybody says is everybody who really loves the games skipped 1 and went to 2. I don't understand that.
2 was good. I didn't like it.
I really liked 2. I thought it was a good mix of good story and good gameplay. I can't really say I liked young Ezio too much, considering he was just Romeo with a knife. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I looked at all. For me, it was entirely level design. I was like, this all looks boring. Like, all of it's just boring and dull colored.
But like I think most people's problem with Assassin's Creed 1 is that you have one starting city, you do 3 startup missions to kind of gather intel on your mission, you go assassinate someone, then you have 3 cities to choose from, and in each city you have 3 startup missions to gather intel, 1 person to assassinate. Then the final mission, you go back home, you fight your master, that's it, that's the game.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. Like, it's the very definition of a classic. When you compare it to what we have now, it's kind of shitty. But at the time, it was groundbreaking, and it did so much to the gaming industry.
And the thing was, I guess I got enough variety out of it by getting the new weapon. Every time you clear one of the cities, I think you got basically a new weapon
I
every
think
time.
you also described KOTOR 2.
Yes.
with that playthrough.
And I enjoyed that mechanic,
KOTOR
and I
2.
guess the new weapons that they gave me enough variety to get through it without really too much too much pain.
It's still a fun game.
Yeah.
It's just that if you try to do it all in one sitting, you're probably just going to be a little bored.
To be fair, when I went back and played it, it was a bit of nostalgia for me because we got our first Xbox, and it was the one that came with Assassin's Creed with it, and Travis and I played it a good bit. Never really finished it, never really got into it, but I remember it being the most fun game I had ever played to that point, and then I went back, played it, and I don't know, I again have no idea how I actually got through that game, because I started playing Revelations, and I don't think I started up on 3, but I started playing Revelations, and I just
didn't miss anything.
I couldn't get into it. Like, I did enjoy some of the mechanics of, you have to, there's the tower defense thing, that was kinda cool.
It was quirky.
They really didn't need a tower defense mechanic, though.
It was
okay,
Tower defense was
but-
really popular on the iPod.
Yeah,
iPod
it was.
market.
It was. Those games.
But the
were
thing
cool.
is, you're not gonna get somebody into the game. There's a tower defense mechanism.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
you have to
are.
go through. You have to go through all this shit, and then you can play the tower defense.
You're gonna get people into it just for that.
Like, the problem
Not
with
many.
Revelations is that they were really pushing on the Desmond story with Revelations.
Oh my god.
They did the same thing with 3
Yeah.
until, spoiler alert, they killed him.
I
And then it finally toned it down in Assassin's Creed 4, and it was wonderful because the aliens were
I think they just
so
needed to
pulled
kill
out of
him off
Assassin's Creed
earlier.
4. Yes, they really did. Desmond did not need to live that
Okay,
long.
here's the thing. When I have played every Assassin's Creed up to Black Flag. I haven't beaten any of them. I might have beaten the first one. I don't remember.
No, say if you killed the Grand Master.
I'm just gonna say I haven't because I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've played them all, and I just
Check your game
it was just
check.
like, oh, here's this stupid part with Desmond, but he's getting better. I'm hoping that eventually it'll just be Assassin's Creed there, and then Assassin's Creed
exactly,
in the future, and then
right?
like, no, no, it's
We're going the opposite way.
Aliens!
Oh
God.
I
god.
believe the term is alien.
yeah, or like with the hair like all
Yeah,
flo-
exactly. I wasn't going to do that. Alien.
There was one with that same guy. They had some from one of his things. They were talking about Atlantis, and they were talking about how they couldn't find it. And he's like, "I think it took off, like it."
Yeah.
Because Travis, oh my god, Travis was so convinced that all of that shit was true.
Wait.
Well, okay, this was when
true
he
or
was
like actual theories.
Theories he could get behind.
Okay.
Because he was like, well, the Bible makes as much sense as that, and in some cases it's true, but, dude, no.
There are levels, but everyone at one point or another in their life goes through a time where they really want to believe in something else.
Yeah.
There
So
will be,
I will I will let myself be sold that this must be it, so I can have something to believe in.
There would be some sort of residual technology left over if someone
Yeah.
had
Not
enough
if they did it right.
advanced technology to lift a fucking city into space.
Really cool
You're
thing
assuming
I
it
found
wasn't
in
the
the first
city that
Mass
came
Effect.
down in the first
Well,
place.
I've been playing the first Mass Effect, and it's so much there's so much more to do than I ever remember there being the first time I played it. But I'm just on planets, driving around the rover, looking for like hidden things, and there's Prothean pyramids.
Really?
They're just it's just exactly how like our pyramids are built, except it's
Futuristic
Yeah, and
technology.
and on the top is like a cache for things. So that's might be like that. It kind of makes sense into like actual lore. It's like, oh, that would explain why they would put things in pyramids and why they would build pyramids and like,
And nobody found them?
what do you mean?
Did
Or on
people
other
find
worlds.
the pyramids? Did the people in one know about those pyramids?
It might be in the codex. I didn't actually read
Really?
it. Like,
Okay.
I should have. But
There are
Reading the instructions?
I didn't
No,
want
no,
to. I
no.
was just really enjoying. Like,
There are people apparently that religiously read those codexes, and I'm like,
I did
that,
for a while.
That I understand
In-
that, but
in 2 and
after
3
a while,
I did. In 2 and 3 I did. In 2 and 3 I really did. In the first one, there's so much codex.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's really cool. That's a cool way to do it because later on, when humans go to Mars, they find a Prothean beacon, and like it kind of shows that Protheans were in our solar system, and it jumped humanity's technology forward a lot just because of all the information stored in it.
Yeah.
It's just that's really cool. That's a cool way to they didn't like in your face say pyramids are from aliens. They're just like, oh hey look, aliens also do this.
Yeah. Games. What other?
Assassin's Creed. I could rant about that for days and days.
That's true.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. Pirates of the Caribbean Online. Oh,
I remember Kevin playing that a lot.
perfect game. Absolutely perfect.
Like I played that long. I don't even remember when I started playing that, but it
No.
was definitely before I met you.
When it came
and
out,
I
maybe
want to
before I met
say
Nathan.
it was when
Yeah.
it first came out. I mean, it was really early
I
on.
loved Pirates of the Caribbean Online. Always did. Thought it was great. Stopped playing it for a while, and then we started playing it again, and it was still the funnest MMO I have ever
game.
experienced.
Like just it was best in an MMO setting because you could get a full crew for your ship.
Yeah.
And you actually sail the ship. You can have an actual person on each cannon. You can fire broadsides.
The only
or, like,
thing
have
that
them
would have been
shooting
cooler
individually.
is if you could have boarded and just fought the other.
You can.
I was about to say, I thought that there
that
was
was
a
totally a
grappling
thing.
that you
Really?
could launch.
Yeah, you launch grappling.
Oh
hooks
yeah,
into
I
that.
forgot
Yeah.
that was a thing.
You moron! It was the perfect game.
We just never did it.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
were grinding for money to get the strongest ship.
Yeah,
And
so
then
we
did.
just go through, sink a ship. Mine now.
We totally got the
Yeah,
strongest
we did.
ship before the game went under. Like
God. And the thing was, when did we start playing? Like,
there,
I
it
saw
was-
that alert and I was like,
Yeah,
oh my
we started
god.
playing like not even 2 weeks before they
Yeah.
shut it down for good.
Yeah, when they had that alert, we started playing. When it was free like I was
Yeah.
playing. I was playing for a little while on my own, I think.
hmm
And Nathan played with me a little bit. Maybe you did also. And then it was just like, oh, they're
We've
getting
got
free
yeah.
subscriptions until it closes. So we just played it full content and played the hell out of it, and
Yeah.
still didn't get enough. I want that game back. They said like apparently that thing that where someone was bringing it back like died down or something.
Oh, the Pirates of the High Seas or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it really comes down to the legalese that's behind it and all that, whether someone can
Well,
legally get the rights to be able to
Yeah,
put
it's
it out.
Apparently that because they were gonna put it up for free, and Disney
Like
was
the-
like, yeah, that's okay.
Put the source out.
Yeah,
Oh no, the
Like that-
Pirates of the High Seas.
yeah, it was
okay.
gonna be completely free, no subscriptions. And Disney was like, yeah, that's okay, and apparently Disney